Hi there, it's Dr. JOYLYN Sparkles and welcome to your Power Hour. This is your time to what's on your mind, on my mind, and we'll put our heads and hearts together and we will come up with a way to go from stuck to happy as fuck in as short amount of time as possible. All right, let me fix this camera here. All righty, welcome to the second week of January. By now, maybe you're feeling that it's real. We're really in the new year. It's actually happening. That's how I always tend to view the New Year's. It doesn't actually happen the first week because the brain just hasn't done that yet. You know, it's true that actually a lot of things where we have these climactic moments and dates on the calendar, but it doesn't really feel like it until, a little bit after. And sometimes we actually feel it before and we're ready. So what's exciting about today is it's 1/11, which when you see that written on paper, it just seems a little bit magical. And it's what some people call a portal day. It's an opening. There's an energetic opening. And whenever there's an opening, there's an invitation to step through into something new. Now, what's interesting about this one is we're still in Mercury retrograde. And so there's some conflicting or contradictory energies, neither of them ever bad. And so you might, if you're getting kind of a sense of a push-pull, like you want to move forward, but then there's all this old stuff coming up, that's what's happening. And a lot of times it does happen around portals anyway, because if we're going to step into something new, we're going to have to let go of the old. And there's ways of looking at it. It's a cost, it's a price, but it's also an investment where we're surrendering the old so that we can have something new. And attitude is everything. How we talk about things and perceive them makes a big difference in how willing we are to receive this new thing, if we receive it at all. Because sometimes it just might be a cost that we're just not willing to have. And so we hold on to our old bullshit and stories and then don't really step into anything actually new. Maybe just shined or glossed or polished or something. But it's not really new. Let's do it different. Because we're going to grow up and show up in 2023 or choose what's good for me in 2023 so that we can soar in 2024. Okay, so let's do that. And what I'm talking about today, because it is still New Year's and there still is a lot of hype about New Year's resolutions and how come we've been setting the same one for so long, over and over and over. Well, there is a few reasons, and like I used to say, I haven't said as much as I used to joke with people. I say, there's two things. This will come up in coaching sessions a lot. There's two things. One of them is when we intend and we put something out there, we are planting a seed. And just like a plant that have different cultivation times before they are visible and or ready to harvest, so too are our intentions. And some of them actually have maybe deeper things that are going on beneath the surface that we can't see that have to be done before they're visible. So it's never that we failed. It's just there might be more going on than we realize. And if we just keep nurturing and nourishing that seed, it will sprout. It will. The thing that we often do is say, is it working? And we'll dig it up and look. No, but I'll cover it up again and try. Or it's not working, so I'm just going to stop watering it. Okay, and we abandon it. So that is one reason that our New Year's resolutions haven't worked, is because we have misinterpreted the lack of visible or external change as it's not working or it's failing. Very, very common, because we've all been told seeing is believing. And that's great and it's lovely. It's not actually how things work. It's so within as without, and there might be a whole lot more inside that is going on that actually is working that we may not be able to perceive. And so we have to keep going. Okay, so a lot of times we just give up too quick. Another reason that a lot of our resolutions don't work is because they are based on judgment. We are trying to fix ourselves we are operating on a premise that there's something wrong and that's what needs to get changed. And it's a false premise. So, as Stephen Walensky says in quantum psychology, anything based on a false premise will then be false. That's one thing. That's just mathematics. But that it's also based on judgment means even if you win, you lose. Because even if you get that thing that you wanted or you succeed, you did it at the expense of you because it was based on there's something wrong with me. And that is absolutely against the truth. And that's truth with a capital T. Because the truth with a capital T is there is nothing wrong with you. You are still divine. You're connected. You are the drop of the ocean. You're not the whole ocean, you're the drop, but still having and maintaining all the qualities of ocean. Same with the Creator. So you are perfect. So there's nothing wrong with you. Anything that you want to change then can't be coming from there's something wrong with me, because then even if you win, you lose, and then somehow the truth will come out. The truth always comes out. And a lot of times it's what we were trying to put together falls apart, or we lose grip of it, or it just takes so much effort and external energy to maintain that it's unsustainable. It ends us dragging us down instead of lifting us up. So one of the biggest reasons that we haven't had the success that we'd like in our endeavors is because it's based on there's something wrong with us. I got to fix this. This isn't right. I'm not right. I'm doing something wrong. I'm fat. I'm ugly. I'm a loser. I'm something. But if I do this thing, if I have this, if I achieve this, if I see this, then I'll know that I'm okay. And that's backwards. Okay? The other thing that will do, because judgment is painful, okay? Like what's his name? Okay, judgment's painful, okay? Because, you know, that when people criticize you, it doesn't feel good. When you look in the mirror and you give yourself a rundown of all the shit that's wrong with you, that doesn't feel good. Pain doesn't feel good when you're actually in physical pain, like you've sprained or strained something. It doesn't feel good. When your belly is not working as it should, it doesn't feel good. Judgment doesn't feel good. And what does that do? It puts you in a stressed state. You move into survival mode. Because with the pain, you tend to then focus on the pain. Just like whatever you were trying to fix, you focused on the problem. Well, now you have a dual problem because you've added pain to that. And pain and problem fixation, they are narrowed focus. It's like putting the blinders on the horses in the parades, you know? And they can only see this. They can only see the problem. They can only see the pain. And then they just start staring at it. And that's what we do to ourselves. Because once I say I'm going to lose weight, then everything's about that. My diet's that. My clothes are that. The mirror is that. The scale is that. Everything's about that. To where I forget to look and be like, oh my God, the sun is shining. It is so nice. Oh my God, my kid actually put their shoes on without me having to ask them 4 different times. Oh my goodness, I got a love note. Somebody put an extra scoop of sugar in my coffee and they weren't supposed to. Like everything even good turns to kind of bad because we're in pain. Our brain waves start going low beta. Survival. The neurotransmitters will start to shift. Our cortisol starts going up and we start pumping a little bit more adrenaline. We're a little bit more on edge because we know we got to get this done. It takes a lot of force and push because it's against our nature. It isn't love, okay? And so our physiology changes. Now, one of the reasons that we tend to do this so easily, because it doesn't feel good, so there's nothing actually easy about it, but why it feels easy is because a lot of us grew up in this. This is how a lot of our authority systems are set up. Even cultural, religious, educational systems are these. It's about rules, it's about external change, it's about behaviors. And it's about what we can see and measure. And it puts us in more of a stressful state instead of allowing us to actually open up and fully express ourselves, okay? Because we got to fall in line. We got to produce. And we're supposed to look a certain way and behave a certain way. These are stressful states. They're not actually conducive to learning, and there's not a lot of room for fun in there. Because if we do, it's a cheat day, okay? That's where a lot of us have gone. Even if you're trying to build a business, it's about work, 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 work. And when you're like kicking back and having fun with friends, oh, I should be working. To where we're not even totally present and enjoying our lives because we have all of this, okay? It is stressful. When you're in beta brainwave patterns, your analytical brain is on gear, and that is good for survival, or necessary, I should say. But your access to creativity and connectivity diminishes. And if you are trying to do something new, those are two things that are absolutely essential, is connection and inspiration. If you don't have any creativity, how can you do something new? All you have, all you can do, all that you have access to, and all your brain's going to do is put you back to where you were, because it's all that's available. And then you tend to isolate and you go into survival mode of it's every man for himself, and I have to do this, and I, and everybody sort of becomes your enemy or your antagonist or a pain in the ass. And then your connectivity and your ability to receive contribution from other people goes down. This is why your New Year's resolutions haven't been working. Survival actually kills success. Because two of the biggest things you need, creativity, connectivity, the inspiration, the ideas, and the community that's actually going to help you build what it is you want to create, you kind of like cut them off at the knees. Okay? And you're working against your true nature, which is love. I love you. You love you. You actually know you're a bright, shining light, but you keep telling yourself that there's something wrong with you, and it takes a lot of energy to keep that in place. It really is just mental gymnastics and contortionism. So if you didn't think you were in the circus, you are. It's just all up here. Now again, no judgment, because this is what we all grew up in and around. Okay, this is what we see everybody doing. But here's the other thing that we also kind of bristle against. I don't know that I want to be just like everybody else, because I see them being kind of flaming dumpster fires and shit shows. I see what goes on behind the scenes there. That's not what I want. And if somebody says, oh, you're just like this or that, you're just like that, indignant. No, I am not. I don't want, you weren't born to be mediocre, and you know it. And this is mediocrity par excellence, okay? So let's stop this. It's crappity crap. So what do you do instead, okay? It's what I call, and I named it with alliteration, and I trademarked it, the future forward focus, okay? The future forward focus. It's what I say is the backwards way by putting happiness first, okay? Now, I know when you're in problem mode, happiness does not seem immediately available. And in truth, you might not instantaneously feel it. But what it is putting happiness first, meaning whatever your happiness is your priority. It just came to me today, if it doesn't light you up, if this resolution or goal that you have, if it doesn't light you up, you haven't actually connected with it. Because if it's something that you have to do, or you should do, or your life is stuck without it, that's not a lit up feeling. It's when, oh my goodness, it would be so nice if this happened. Oh my goodness, I would love it if. I wonder what it would be like to do this. I wonder what it would be like to feel like this. I wonder what it would be like to say this, to wear that, to go shopping and like that, to look in the mirror and just spontaneously smile. I wonder what that's like. That is lit up. And when we put that's what, I think it was it Rumi? Follow your bliss? That we all know, follow your bliss. That's when the path becomes easy and there's flow. Like time flies when you're having fun, and it drags ass when you're not, okay? We all know that. The same thing happens when you're trying to push a rock up a hill or paddle upstream, as you are when you go against your nature and try to prove that nothing's wrong or fix something that's wrong when there's actually nothing wrong. It takes a lot of effort. When you're following your bliss, it means you've actually connected with something that is based in truth. And it's easy. Now, the only thing that's easy is it's inconvenient. You'll be like, no way, I can't do that. No way, I can't say that. It's just going to require a level of audacity that you probably haven't been encouraged to have and probably got shut up when you were little. That's the only actual hard part, is breaking out of the habit of who you think you are. The little itty bitty slice of yourself that you've allowed yourself to have for the last couple of decades, that's the work. But when we actually do that, shit comes together and we're just like, oh, I didn't even have to try that hard. When trying to shed some pounds, and change the physique, when that really is coming from a lit up feeling of, I'd like to feel that, my body's asking for that, that's what I want to have, you will notice that fasting isn't hard. Exercise isn't hard. The most hard thing is actually sometimes just being, how do you do that? What? Mine was falling over a million times in yoga. It was actually the muscle memory, and dealing with the embarrassment of, oh my God, everybody's looking at me. No, they're not. So anyway, the future forward focus, the backwards way of putting your happiness first and prioritizing that, meaning it becomes more valuable than the old shit. All the old stories, including your trauma. Yes, you have it. You've probably built an identity on it. And the story gets you some attention. Maybe your attention. It's time to set that down. Because it can't come with you through this portal into something new. It taught you something. But now it's time to trust that got integrated, or learn how to integrate it so that it is not the biggest, coolest part of you. It's not the thing that everybody needs to know about you in order to really know you. What they really need to know about you in order to really know you is what lights you up and where you're going from here. Because that's actually the most exciting thing about you and the greatest contribution you came and what you actually came here to bring. So when you prioritize that and make that your focus, then even that shadow work of learning how to integrate the trauma parts, because it's not like you can bypass it. It's not like you can pretend it's not there. But it's learning how to relationship with it different so that it's not driving the bus. It's learning how to handle the triggers so that it's not everybody else's responsibility, so that you don't feel powerless. It's actually being able to say, oh, I get to call the shots here. I don't have to live like this forever. No, because survival kills success. And if success is what you really want, you got to prioritize it, which means we got to do something different. We got to get out of survival. We got to go into happiness, into thriving. So you prioritize that. And that are the feelings that you call up. The thoughts that you're going to start thinking more about. Meaning that when they come, you don't shoo them away and tell yourself why you can't have them or why they're not as real. It's when the old negative one comes up, that's when you're just like, hey, do you have a message for me? Is there something that I haven't received or acknowledged yet? But then sometimes it's, you got to take a back seat because happiness is going to be here. My lightness, my thriving is going to be here. And we make other choices on that are a little bit past the actual instantaneous, immediate experience. Meaning, is a cookie going to light me up? Yes, it is. Trust me, if it's got sprinkles, it's going to light me up. I mean, I know this. But how am I going to feel after that cookie? Is that a lit up feeling? Sometimes yes, and sometimes no. And I have to be honest with them and make a choice on my priority. Now, do I do that 100% of the time? No. But the more I do it, the easier it gets. Okay? And what I was going to say is, with this future forward focus, this is what every single happiness clinic program is built on. So instead of starting a program, and I couldn't find the Dumb and Dumber gif of, Harry, we're in a hole. We'll just dig ourselves out of it. And digging deeper and looking at what we're stuck in, which is what every single program I've ever been in starts. I'm actually trusting you know a thing or two about your shit, okay? And what's keeping you stuck and where you trip up. But here's the thing. When you take a step forward, the most immediate one's going to present itself and then the next, and then the next. They present themselves as we move forward, and they present themselves in the order that they're ready to go, instead of us digging and trying to impose our linear logical thinking on what needs to get released. This is an infinitely intelligent organism. You, your body, connected. Yes, both. It's the truth of you. Like I said, there was nothing wrong. We've just been doing things out of order in a way that's supposed to make sense because, again, it's a survival pattern and it's highly reinforced here. But it isn't working for success or sustainable success or faster success. Putting happiness first and saying, here's where I'm going so I actually have somewhere to go, so that right away my subconscious isn't just like, I don't know, because it does not have creative capacity. It does not. It's subconscious. That's not one of the functions or gifts that it possesses. Okay? No imagination. That's what your conscious and superconscious is for. You have to give it direction. It's just the motor that powers this thing. But if you say, here's where we're going, and here's the thoughts you're going to start choosing, here's the evidence of when I've done it before. Or you start visualizing and meditating and calling in those and giving it the information. Hey, here's some memories, because it can't tell the difference. Okay? It's just like your sled dog. It doesn't know, it just listens to you. Okay? You just tell it, here's where we're going, and here's how we're going to get there. Well, here's how we're going to get there. That's the universes. That's the fun. Okay. The future forward focus that every happiness clinic program is built on. All of them. And the one that's starting that I am just tingling with excitement about is love yourselves, because we're actually learning embodiment skills so that we can literally get out of our heads into our bodies, so that this weight release that we've been trying for so long can actually be possible. The unwinding our guts so they can heal. Changing dysbiosis. All of these things are possible because here's what I just learned recently. My dysbiosis, I had, like all the probiotics and all these things. Nothing worked because it's really a boundary issue, okay? And then when your gut and your brain, we've heard about the gut-brain connection, have you not? Just Google that. Messes up your thoughts. When you let everybody else in and everybody else's priority run on top of yours, things run amok. Things get way out of balance. You lose your sovereignty and autonomy. I mean, you never actually lose it, but you have to reclaim it. And here's the other thing. With all the things, and the problem with the medical community and all the things, all the conventional therapies, is we keep trying to fix what's wrong and kill the bad and boot camp and battle your body and be at war with these pounds. Warring isn't working. Survival kills success. Okay? It kind of kills. It's like the collateral damage, all right? We got to do it a different way. All right? We're going to learn how to love ourselves. And you just... I even hated kill with kindness because I don't want to kill anything. But you actually nurture the good. You help good things go right, so there's just not as much opportunity for things to go wrong. And you'll find that a lot of the weight that we are carrying is actually protection. We don't know how to take up space. We don't know how to hold our own. We don't know how to have boundaries. And a lot of this happened when we were little, so that we thought, when I'm big, I can do this, so we got big. And a lot of this was like, but why is this happening? I'm with my partner who I love. But guess what? A lot of partnerships are based on healing past relationships with your parents. So there's still survival mechanisms in there. So even though you love them and it seems great, you're still not really sure how to claim your sovereignty and autonomy within your relationship. So you put on pounds and get physically bigger so that you feel safe. It's all happening in the subconscious, but nobody's talking about it this way, and nobody's actually putting these things together so that we learn how to maintain our own space, preserve, protect, actually establish our own safety from within, so that when these pounds and excess tissue comes off, it's released, it doesn't have to come back, because you know how to ensure your own safety. Survival will not be part of the equation. You will just know, this is who I am, where I am, and I know who I am, so I know anything's possible. Now, a quick way to start this, the future forward focus, how we always start, I base it on 3 questions because I want to give you this before the end. The first one is, how do I want to show up here? Because for a lot of you, people who are sensitive, empathic, and or gender trained female, most of us, and a lot of trauma programming would be, the survival pattern is to look and see how everybody else is doing, and then I'll choose from that. I'll see what everybody, I'll read the room, and then I'll move from there. Instead of just showing up, like, more and more, the image that comes to me is the Kool-Aid man. I'm here! You know? That was not encouraged when I was little. It wasn't good for, you know, I was such a good girl because I was quiet. I was so quiet. And now I'm just like, that isn't working for me. I want to know I exist. I want to know that there's space. And people can't know that I'm here, that my programs exist if I refuse to talk about them. So I'm going to use my voice. And I know how to do that now, and it's fun, okay? So it's, how do I want to show up? You don't have to show up like the Kool-Aid man if that's truly not your style. But how do you want to show up in your life? A lot of us have backed off and let somebody else be the center stage, and whatever they do is what determines what I do. And that's not sustainable. That'll create a lot of resentment. And so it's, how do I want to show up? That's the first question. The second one is, what would I like more of in my life? Again, a lot of us are going from survival and trying to fix things so that we're trying to eliminate or make something go away. But the subconscious, like, this is an abundant universe, so it doesn't like things to just go away with nothing else to fill it. In fact, space itself is filled with infinite possibilities, okay? So there really isn't empty, you know? There's just space, but it's full of possibilities. So what would you like to add to your life? And you focus on that. When you know what you want to add to your life, then you can take the focus on what you want less of, and then it becomes less stressful. Then it becomes easier to prioritize because, oh, I want more of this. It actually gives you a positive something to put there instead of like a negative space or a vacuum that's going to constantly kind of suck your attention to it, okay? So give yourself, what do I want to add? And the third thing is, what lights me up? What brings me joy? Because in this process, the going's going to get tough. The old triggers are going to come up because they're coming up to go. They're coming up, they're calling for attention because they're showing you where you need more self-love. Sometimes we'll have to take a break. And sometimes there will be that space in between of, I've done everything I can think of, I've done everything that I was instructed to do, and now there's just that waiting time. So what brings you joy? Because sometimes when we're the most restless and we really get in our own way, it's because we're just restless and uncomfortable and we feel like we should be doing more. Sometimes that's a time when it's time to rest or play. So knowing what brings you joy in advance is going to have your mind actually know, oh, I could do this. I could do this instead. Those 3 things are going to help you put your future forward, to go the backwards way of putting happiness first so that you can actually succeed this time. And it can be sustainable, fast, and it lasts. I love rhymes. This change is possible for you and we can do it. And these conversations, helping people do this, come up with creative new ways to play so that they can release and maintain alpha and theta brainwaves that make us more conducive to learning, more dopamine, more serotonin, more oxytocin, so we can connect, so we can be creative in our process. That's what lights me up. And that is what Love Yourselves is all about. I would absolutely be delighted for you to join. We are starting. I'm enrolling now. We're starting on Monday. Okay, so the group sessions are going to be on Mondays and Thursdays, and you get individual sessions that you can work into your schedule however they work for you, because there's group and individual. There is playtime, there is practice time, and there's going to be time where I'm holding your feet to the fire. You're not going to squirm away. I've got you. I'm going to hold you. This is the most loving, playful space to deal with serious shit in a more playful way so you can actually finally get out of the pattern that you've been stuck in for so long. I want to talk to you about this. Message me, email me. Let's get you on the calendar and get you in because we're starting. And what are you waiting for? It's your time to shine. I want you to have it. All right? So love yourselves. I will see you there. And I can't wait to see you again next week for another Power Hour. All right, until then, mwah.